Ahoy, Polloy! Another Players is in the books. But some interesting things happened this week. Let's dive right in. Welcome to the Tavern. Yeah. Last week, I think he's back to form. He fell off a little bit last year, but he also was named Ryder Cup captain. Give me Team Ramsey! Good evening, everybody. How we doing this evening?
What's going on? How are you?
Did you like my text to Dave? Because he's not here this week, and he's asking who he picks.
So for everybody out there in the viewer world, Dave's on a cruise this week. That was the Hoi Polloi reference. Yeah, it's easy to grin when your ship comes in, I guess.
Well, his ship's already set sail, so the Caddyshack reference will be flowing tonight. Just putting that out there.
Just FYI, just be aware.
He asked who he can pick this week, and I said the field minus who we pick.
Right, correct. I haven't even looked at the field this week, so
neither have I. So my picks are going to be made on the fly. So
awesome. Do we have odds? Do I need to research odds before we get there?
You're gonna have to research odds because you're gonna have to slip in for odds with Dave today. So.
Okay, cool.
But with that, welcome back to another week here on the Tavern. Steve, how was your weekend?
It was nice to be home. Obviously, did the show from Vegas last week. Had a great time out there on business trip. We did go and see Ka, which was amazing. If you haven't seen Ka in Vegas, I highly recommend it. I actually my kids were on spring break last week, so being out of town last week was a little But spent Saturday at Hollywood Studios. And of all the people that I ran into on Saturday at Hollywood Studios? Dave, actually.
I mean, we had two of the three golfing dads there. Unfortunately, I was not in Orlando this weekend. I was here. I spent all week preparing a Ferris wheel to be operational. It is up and operational, so if you're in the Indianapolis area, I recommend going to the Children's Museum and riding our Ferris wheel. Great views of Indianapolis from that. So that was my weekend.
For those people that are familiar with Hollywood Studios, there's the Star Tours attraction. When you get off Star Tours, you come into a merchandise shop. I know it's surprising to everyone who's ever been to Disney that you go into a merchandise shop after an attraction. Inside Tatooine Traders, where I was buying my children some merchandise because they wanted some. I turned around and see this guy that looks awfully familiar, and I uttered out, "Is that Dave from the Golfing Dad's Tavern?"
Did everybody look around and go, "What? There's a celebrity here?"
Yes. So no, we had a good time. It was good in the park, and then you can watch some golf this weekend. I love the players. I know we're going to get into that here first couple segments here,
it really dominates our show this week.
Really, it does. There was a lot that went on this week at the Players, so a lot to talk about. How was other than doing the Ferris wheel? Did you take the first ride on the Ferris wheel after it was built?
No, I took one of the first few rides on there with training people on how to load and unload people there from all of my days at Disney. Understanding that and crowd management is what I was doing and training people on all of that kind of stuff. But I rode it all the way around a few times, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great view of our city. In the summer, it's going to be even greater when all the trees, when you're looking north of the city, it's going to look a lot better up that way too. So it's going to be a great way to celebrate the museum's 100th birthday this year. So that's what it is. I tell people.
Obviously, I was in Vegas last week. There's the Link. In Orlando, we have the Eye. Are we talking that size scale Ferris wheel or much smaller?
Not much smaller. So not that big, not by any means. So if you were comparing it to the new cruise ships, since we're going to do Dave references tonight at Disney,
yes.
how big the new cruise ships are? If the new cruise ships are the Orlando Eye, this Ferris wheel is like the original size cruise ship.
Okay. Okay.
So smaller. It's a little bit bigger than a Carnival one. It's meant to be a traveling Ferris wheel, but it's a little bit bigger than what you'd see at a Carnival. I'll put it that way. So it's 104 feet, I think, in the air. So
Okay.
11 or 12 stories high, but great views. And it's been a lot of fun so far. And we'll see it for the next 8 months. So, all right. With that, I think it's time for first round.
Yep.
Are you always looking for a safe and accessible place to store your phone in your cart during a round of golf? Well, our friends at Desert Fox Golf have the perfect solution, the Desert Fox Phone Caddy. Just strap it to the cart window frame and you're all set. Also worried that you will miss your favorite podcast, The Golfing Dad's Tavern? They have a solution for that as well. Just add their DJ-10 speaker so you don't have to miss a minute of our show. Find these great products and more at desertfoxgolf.com.
It's March Madness, people. I mean, my team did not make any NCAA basketball stuff, but
you might, you know what? Nice tease for this week's halfway house.
I know that's March Madness is in full effect, and we didn't set up a March Madness bracket for the Golfing Dad's Tavern this year, just because with a lot of stuff us going on with a bunch of different things in our personal lives, just didn't get time to set that up. So if anyone wants us to join one of theirs, let us know. I've already made like 4 brackets, so I just love making March Madness brackets. So
4 more than me.
Also, if you're looking for Desert Fox, get 10 or 15% off by using the codes Golfing Dads at Desert Fox, and get yourself some great products, not just their DJ 10, but their phone caddy, their swing aid bottles, and all of their great products there. But I know, Steve, what you're about to lead into is their
bracket, their logo bracket. So a couple friends of the show, Dave obviously has the winery logo in there, as well as we have
Golfer.
The Orlando Golfer is in there as well. So definitely want to go and check their logos out. We're going to rep them, good peeps. So definitely on board with them.
So check out Desert Fox's Instagram page to vote in their bracket challenge.
Thursday? It comes out? Thursday, I think it comes out.
I believe so. I believe it starts with the bracket. So, but check that out for a great products, great content, and a fun little bracket challenge. And we know who we're rooting for in that bracket.
Hey, Bradley, I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud. At some point, Dave and Greg would make a trade even in this and beat you. I'll just call it what it is.
I have traded the Duke Blue Devils for the Florida Gators.
You trading anybody for UNC? Never mind. We're teasing halfway house too much now. Greg,
way too much.
We're going to get into the players, and obviously Rory won. Great win, his second win there. 3-hole aggregate playoffs.
Playoffs? We don't playoffs?
Had to. Couldn't let that one go.
But I will say that a 3-hole playoff, and playoffs have been a big thing in the PGA Tour in the past few years. Whenever, I'll say, like the U.S. Open changed their playoff system, which I think was a big mistake because I loved the full day playoff on a Monday.
Give me a reason to call in sick on a Monday and watch golf all day and watch the best golf ever. Like, come on, let's not do that. Like, what a waste that was. But no, here's my problem with the 3-hole aggregate. And you and I talked about this today. I think we're both going to be in agreement on this. Mm-hmm. The Monday finish ruined the aggregate. And again, you can't control Mother Nature. You can't. Like, that storm that came through here, we didn't get it as bad, but there were some nasty parts of that storm. And anybody that was impacted by that storm, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. But I think the 3-hole aggregate would have been way better had they finished on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that the weather kind of dampened this event. I think that there were some interesting storylines that went on this weekend. It was fun to watch. I even texted you at one point. I said this year, I don't know what it was about this players. I didn't feel it had the excitement behind it that the players has had in the past until you got to Sunday. I thought Sunday kind of brought that excitement back, and then you had to wait till Monday to see the finish, which I like a Monday finish sometimes, but that it was only the playoff on Monday and it wasn't 18 holes. Like if you're going to do a Monday playoff, do an 18-hole playoff and let those guys fight it out for 18 more holes because that'll be exciting. I know you don't want to do that in the players. So I like the 3 holes. I just think it took some of the excitement out of it. Like you lose all your momentum. You got to come back in on Monday and start all over where like if you had momentum on Sunday, you lost all that going into Monday. And I think that it's just unfortunate. I don't think they did anything wrong. It's just unfortunate.
We're not talking about 3 holes that nobody knows about. We're talking about 3 of the most iconic holes in golf. Like, you can see that Sawgrass is the most photographed hole in golf. 16 is, and I know it's coming. I'll just preface the drink. That finish, having played it multiple times, and I've been inside the ropes that. And having been inside the ropes there, and I will say this. I said this to my dad because my dad asked me what I thought about it. And I said, the shot that JJ hit on 17 in the playoff, when he hit it, he flushed it. I don't think it got above. I think he felt like it was going to get above the buildings and get hit by the wind. It never got hit by the wind. Was very reminiscent to the shot that I saw Len Matisse hit on the 71st hole when I was standing next to his golf bag when he pulled the trigger on it. And Roger Maltby was standing to my right. Like I was closer to the action than Roger Maltby was. So I think that when you look at the shot he hit and where it landed, I told my dad, I said, it literally could have landed on top of where Len's ball landed in 1998. And you know what? That hole is a microcosm. Last time I played it, I literally watched a guy go up to the tee first, grab 9-iron, and the flag was on that same line where it was on Sunday. It was just back. It was a little further back in the green. And he hit 3 9-irons, all of which you could have thrown the sleeve in the pond and they all could have fallen back into the box that they came out of. And I literally had 8 and 9 in my hand and just 3/4 and 8-iron in there to like 8 feet. But we're talking about a tour player here. We're talking about a guy that hits these shots. And he said, I was hitting the shot on the range with TrackMan. You know what? I can't fault him for the shot that he hit. He tried to play the shot he felt comfortable with. Never got hit by the wind. Mother Nature didn't hit that. And it is what it is.
But I think to your point there, this goes back to what I was saying is that you have momentum and adrenaline on Sunday, and you might be and that's the last time you played that hole. So, yeah, you're referencing TrackMan, which is a good system for that, but it's not really going to give you that, what it's like out there with the wind and everything like that. I know it gives you all that data and it calculates everything into that, but you had the feel on Sunday. I think it would have been a much different ending and a much closer finish had they been able to get it in. Now, we're not criticizing the PGA or the players or TPC for any of this because this was a weather delay that caused this. It's just unfortunate that it happened. Now, I think it's very fortunate for Rory McIlroy, and I think his experience on tour and winning and all of that.
Thanks, Aiden.
is what helps him make decisions in this scenario. Because I think if you put someone like if it was Scotty versus Rory, I think it would have been a little bit different. But I think this is experience for JJ that, like, unfortunately, it's bad experience, but he'll learn from it, and I think he'll do great things moving forward. But I think playing on Monday, having to re-warm up and rethink everything overnight was
and the wind changed. The wind also changed direction from what it was over the weekend. 16 was playing into the fan. 17 was playing straight downwind on Saturday and Sunday. And then on Monday, 16 was playing straight down. I think Rory hit like 380 off that tee downwind. And then 17 was now playing into the wind. And the problem when that hole plays into the wind with the with the stands up in the back that they put back there behind the water is the wind comes down 18 off the ocean. And if you've ever been there, you realize how close the ocean actually is to that golf course. I mean, we're not talking a mile from the ocean. And so the wind comes in off the ocean. When it comes in off the ocean, it just comes straight into that golf course where it is and will literally just eat a golf ball up. Now, that shot that JJ hit, honestly, if the stands weren't there and the TV towers weren't there, that golf ball probably would have been middle of the green.
Well, and that's also true, but I look at it from the standpoint of it is tough to play 3 holes that are basically sudden death. You got to play 3 sudden death holes.
Yep.
That it's an aggregate, but you're not going out there and getting warmed up and playing like you have been. Whenever you do a playoff, for the most part, it's the same day, unless it's that next day 18-hole type thing, or you just lost it due to time, which this was weather that caused you to have to go to the next day.
Yep.
But you're not warmed up the same, and you're going into probably, and Steve, you can say this better than I can because I have never played this course, the 3 hardest finishing holes probably on any golf course. You're playing a par 5, then to an island green. That's like an island green. Yeah, it's a short shot, but you have to be very accurate on that.
It's
And
7
then
seconds that your heart's in your throat. Like that ball goes
Yeah.
up in the air and goes in your throat for 7 seconds.
So you have no momentum that you have gained throughout here. So you're just playing ice cold. You got to be stone cold to do this. And that's where I think Rory's experience is what won him this, is he knew how to play this in any condition. He didn't have to rely on adrenaline or things like that JJ kind of had in getting himself into this position.
You know what? I'm going to give, outside of 1 hole, JJ, and again, flush an 8-iron and kept it out of the wind and just hit it right through it. Like, it unfortunately happens to everybody. And tour players flush an awful lot of shots. I mean, let's be real, that's other tour players. But it also goes to show that even tour players can have a bad hole.
Yeah.
I think that when you look at Rory's shot, and again on that hole, and I think you're in a what is basically a match play mentality at that point, I really think first one on the green has the advantage.
Oh yeah.
And I think Rory hitting it on the green, that hole, again, I mean, Tiger has said it, that hole gets in your head from the first hole. You know it's coming. And when you're out there, and Greg, you've never been up there, have you?
I've seen the course. I've never played the course.
Okay. So they changed the driving range a few years ago when they redid the greens out there. Mm-hmm. And they put in on the driving range, if you're on the deck of the driving range, they actually put in a replica of the 17th green. And you can actually hit balls at that while you're on the driving range. Right in the middle of the driving range is those railroads high. It's about a foot high and it goes around. It looks like the 17th green. So you can hit that shot, and they have different flags out there. So you can get out there and hit the shot, see where you're trying to hit it to, get that number and get that feel for that. And I actually think it's a cool part of that driving range. It really is. But when you get there in a playoff and you're playing a guy who is fully exempt for life on the PGA Tour and has won 20-something times on the PGA Tour and Rory McIlroy, a 4-time major winner, and you're David playing Goliath.
Yeah.
I really think that there's a lot of things that go in the back of your head. And, the Orlando golfer just said this.
Oh, yeah, this is perfect.
This is perfect. Like, I think a lot of people, a lot of we'll say Tuesday morning quarterbacks, since it was Monday morning that they played, Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning quarterbacks are going to second guess what happened. But when you look at what happened, you know what? He's human. And you're going to hit shots that fortunately or unfortunately, you don't normally hit. Like 16, honestly, is the easiest hole of the 3.
Oh yeah,
It's a risk
by
reward
far.
par 5. The hardest shot on that golf hole is if you have to lay up. If you can go for that green in 2 and you pump one down there and you're all systems lock and load and you're going, you're fine. The tree short of that green 50 yards makes that layup shot really hard. Like you got to really think about where you're hitting the golf ball to lay it up. So 16 is the easiest hole of the bunch, and you get to 17, which is, I mean,
it's full throttle at that point. Like,
well, there's a running joke about 17, and I found it interesting because the running joke is you never look. There's a path that they mow with a push mower behind that goes behind the water on 16 and over to the 17th tee that all the players walk. Everybody walks it. And somebody said to me, you're going to make this walk, and at some point you're going to look over, and you're not playing in the golf tournament, and you're going to watch the green get smaller. And it's going to be on Sunday, and it's going to be when you're in the lead. And I will tell you, I watched it happen, and you know it's not shrinking, but it's shrinking in your mind. As you're walking, when I was with Lenny on that Sunday in 98, I'm looking and I'm like, this green's getting smaller the closer I get to the tee box. And you look over at it and you're looking to see where the pin is, you're looking to see what the wind's doing. Like, there's a lot of things that you're looking at along the way. And you look over and the green just looks like it's just going like this very slowly, getting smaller and smaller. So you get to that 17th tee box and all of a sudden your heart's in your throat. You're looking at a bunch of different things along the way. And you're like, it's time to hit a shot. Like, and at that point, you've got to rely on experience. You know, there's a reason when you look at the list of players that have won the Players. I mean, that list is pretty good. Almost every one of them's won a major. So when you look at that list and you're like, okay, yeah, let's do this. You know, if you're JJ Spawn in that playoff,
and
Rory's
that's
looking
really
going,
what we're saying here.
Been there, done that, and JJ's like,
yeah, it's that's what we're saying here. It's like there was nothing wrong with the Monday finish. There's nothing. I don't think anything wrong with the aggregate. I kind of like that those 3 holes are there. I just kind of wish that the first time we see it, it would have been on Sunday, not a replay on Monday. So, but we got more to talk about with the Players and some things that happened this week, and I think we're tying something into it. So let's get into happy hour.
Your phone ready?
What?
You got your phone ready?
I lost my phone. Someone took it. I mean, we wanted to talk about this week because it's very interesting about what happened in the practice rounds for this, and not only in the practice round.
Playoffs, and now we're talking about practice.
Practice? Talk about practice, not the game.
Practice.
So, for those of you that understand that quote from where it originally is from, it's from Allen Iverson, but the younger generation might know it from Ted Lasso. So that's.
Yes.
But with and shout out to Ted Lasso, I got my Jason Sudeikis WNBA hoodie on that he's been making famous as of late. But I had it before him. I'm just saying. The champion of this event was in a situation on Wednesday or Tuesday, where he got heckled. And his response to it, I'm not taking a side in this story either way, was to go over, take the kid's phone, and when I say kid, college student,
yeah,
and just walk away. Like, didn't break the phone, didn't throw the phone, didn't knock it out of his hand, just casually walked over like he was about to sign an autograph, took the item from this kid, and just walked away.
Yep.
Now, what we want to talk about here is heckling getting out of hand in all sports, not just golf, because we see all of this happening in the NBA, in the WNBA, in the NFL, in Major League Baseball to a point. Like, we see this where our fans being too rude to the players.
So fan is short for fanatical.
Yes.
Here's my. I think back, and Greg, you'll remember this game, and some of the younger people won't even understand what we're talking about. 2004, Red Sox Yankees.
Okay.
Game 7, Yankee Stadium. 50,000 Yankee fans yelling, "Who's your daddy?" at Pedro. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that in golf we should have everybody yelling, "Who's your daddy?" Not saying that at all. I also feel like golf and tennis have this aura about them where you have to be quiet.
Prestigious.
This prestigious thing about them. And I really, here's my thing. Do I agree? I mean, this kid was making fun of Rory in 2011 when he choked the Masters away, because he did. I mean, let's be real. He was, again, Rory in 2011 was the antithesis of the Master starts in the 10th tee on Sunday. And that's what happened. So do I think that Rory, the problem that I have is if you or I walked up to this kid, said, let me take your phone and walk away with it.
Well, let's put it in the scenario of if he was teasing or heckling us, not that just walk. Because if I just walk up to someone and take their phone, it's theft. That's what it is. It's not. This is a scenario of where it's at.
I'm going to put this up here because it's what you're going down the road with.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with the OG, as we'll call
The
him.
OG. The OG. Yep.
But what I will say is we need to be better as fans too.
Correct.
And I don't think this fan crossed the line with Rory. I think Rory needs to have a thicker skin at that point, because in all sports, even when you and I play golf, we heckle each other. Like, we're giving each other shit.
There is some trash talking.
Like, that's part of sports. We all grow up in that. Even on the golf course, we do that. Like, that's part of it. And you have to understand that. Like, even from a fan, that's part of it. I do think there have been fans that have crossed the line. I think if you talk about someone's kids, if you talk about someone's family, if you talk about someone's religion, sexual orientation, anything like that's vulgar is crossing the line. But like, who's your daddy? That's not crossing the line, in my opinion. Like, that's trash talking in a sense there. I mean, you can take something the wrong way, but if it's not overly offensive, like, you got to be able to take that with a grain of salt.
I'm going to say this. As a Red Sox fan with a Yankee fan on here, that was going to get said at that point. Like you knew it was coming.
It's true. And that's the thing. One of my favorite experiences was in 2007, I think it was, when we were playing in the Ryder Cup. I was over in Scotland and Ireland at this time, and my dad and I went into a pub, and we were watching it in the pub there, and we got to talking to some of the fans over there, and they were giving us shit, but they were also the nicest people about it too. Like, we were being buddies while we were talking to them. But am I not allowed to call Steve old anymore? No, you're allowed to call Steve old anymore. But that's the thing. Like, no, we're not going to kick you off just because you make fun of us. Like, we actually appreciate that. We're not going to kick you off our channel just because maybe you disagree with us. We like the disagreements, and it's part of life. Like, you have to be thick-skinned about some of this stuff, and you have to find it funny in life. Like, if you're going to make fun of someone, Like, that's what you make fun of your friends. Like, now you shouldn't be trying to hurt someone. You shouldn't be trying to do anything that's bad there. Like, if you go to a Yankees Red Sox game, you're gonna hear some stuff, and fans shouldn't be saying some of that stuff. But the players need to understand that too. I don't blame a player if a player gets like told something derogatory, or I'm going to use the Ted Lasso
Well,
reference where it's a gay slur that was yelled, and his teammate jumped into the stands after him. I don't blame him for that because he should he have done it? No, and like they say in the show, he shouldn't have done it. But I don't hold it against him for that. I think he did the
but you
right thing
also
defending
have
his player.
there was another incident that happened this week. I don't know if you saw it, Greg, where Ricky pointed out a fan for either talking or taking a photo in his swing.
Oh, I did see this. Yes.
And like
Ricky gave it back to him.
Like, here's PGA Tour players are known for having rabbit ears. They really are. A lot of them have rabbit ears. The surprising part with Ricky is that I feel like Ricky's the one guy that if you walked out there and if you said who's the one guy that's got a Desert Fox DJ-10 speaker on him in his practice round listening to music, it would be Ricky.
100%.
Like if that was the question at hand, it would be Ricky Fowler. And the other guy that if you said who's the guy that's got Jack Daniels in his cup, it's John Daly. But
I'll even go to what was it a few weeks ago? Well, I mean, it might have been Rory that this was in, where he missed a putt and they went after his caddy.
Yeah,
in that comment, and like that's like, why are you making these comments that are there? I don't think like you need to have a line and know what's respectful and not respectful from both ends. Like
I'm agreeing with you on that.
Yeah.
But I do think, I mean, we're not at Waste Management and we're not on 16 at the WM. Like, and there are things that happen on 16 at the WM, and I'm not talking about Joel Damon and Harry Higgs taking off their shirts and riding the pony there. You know, this is the players. It's known in that circle as the fifth major. When you look at the list of guys that have won the players, like I said earlier, majority of those guys are major champions. Like I can think back, like Ricky has never won a major. Fred Funk won majors on this Champions Tour. But the long list of guys, Sergio finally won a major. Justin Thomas has won 2 majors. Adam Scott's won a major. Tiger Woods obviously has won multiple majors. Scotty Scheffler has won multiple majors. Scotty Scheffler was the first guy in 50 years to defend his title at the Players.
That's good. Like, what's your point with this?
Like when you look at the guys that win this golf tournament, they're typically thick-skinned guys that know what they're doing. I was actually surprised at Rory, and I don't know that I'm even going to go a little further to say disappointed in that he, like Hayden said, abuse of power. Like just because you're Rory McIlroy going over and taking this kid's phone, and the story that's come out about this kid since then, college golfer at the University of Texas, home of, I don't know, Ricky Fowler, Scotty. I'm not Ricky Fowler.
Ricky didn't play at Texas. Jordan
No,
Spieth
he
did.
played another Orange school.
Yes.
Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah. So he's
the
kid's a good golfer. Like,
right.
and you have to understand, the kid is a kid. And the kid didn't say anything derogatory that was there. Should he have said it? Should he have been a better ambassador to the game of golf with being in that program? Yes. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't want someone to be like, there could have been, even if Ricky, not Ricky, God, you got me on Ricky with that whole Miss University. But even if Rory didn't come over and do that, you could have said that and someone could have filmed you, and then your coach could have seen it that way too, and also given you the same kind of punishment that they gave you at your university.
Yeah.
Because you're representing the university as a player there, and you need to be better. It's the same reason Rory needs to be better. And I'm going to give not Rory a pass here, but I think Rory has been mistreated, and you saw this in full swing about his personal life. Like, and so I think when you bring stuff up, it's tough for Rory because he is in the spotlight more than any other golfer on the PGA Tour. and this includes Scotty Scheffler when I say this,
Correct. I would agree with
because
that.
he has been the figurehead of the tour since Tiger has left. He has been the one
Well,
that has talked about it with
he was the
Liv.
voice. The Live
Yeah,
thing, he was the voice
he
of
was
the
the face
players.
of the tour.
He was the
He
face
was
of
the
the
face of
tour
the tour and the voice of the players at the same time.
and made to look like he had a lot of egg on his face after the announcement when Jay and Yasser sat down and made this announcement that there's a framework deal in place, and there's Rory.
So he has that going on for him, where the tour kind of did him dirty in that sense. His personal life with his wife and their separation and get back together and all of that, like, people drag him through all of this stuff.
Yep.
I don't blame him for, like, snapping at that point. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't punch the kid. He didn't do anything that was there.
Stole
But
his
that's
phone.
where
Like, it was.
we have to. I know, but I'm pretty sure he gave the phone back. I'm pretty sure he didn't damage the phone. He didn't do anything. He could have done a lot worse, and this would have been a whole different conversation. So I think he was controlled, but not fully controlled as he should be. He shouldn't have done that in the first place. But we also need to be better as fans. We have to understand that these are players. These are people. Like, they have families just like we have families, and you don't want to have someone. If Steve, I'll use the example we just talked about. I'll use the OG's example of he calls you old. You're not going to get upset at that. You're not going to get upset at that. But if he was to say something about one of your kids, it's going to be a totally different reaction.
Yep. 100%.
Like, and you're friends. That's what I'm saying. You're friends.
Yep.
These are people you don't know that are saying this kind of stuff. And that's where the fans need to be better. I don't think this kid did anything really offensive to Rory. I mean, he called out facts about what Rory did.
Right.
It's not like you should be better, but I don't think that's bad. And that's why I think Rory overreacted here. But I also don't blame Rory for what he's been put through. And he's just done nothing but try to help the game of golf. That's where I give him a pass.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, Rory has been the face. He's been the voice. He's been the guy. And so I do think Rory's got a little more on him than, say, JJ Spawn. I mean,
I was hoping that's who you were going to say. I was hoping that's who you were going to say there.
Speaking of JJ, before we jump out of happy hour, there was a ruling. Did you see the ruling that happened this week with him?
Please tell me you're going to talk about Shooter McGavin's response to this ruling.
Correct. We can talk about that.
Yes.
2 drops, 1 because of standing on a sprinkler head, 2 onto the sprinkler head, which was in the circle, to then get you from the deep rough into the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, fair or foul?
Using the rules to your advantage. That's what it is.
That's how I see it.
That's where a lot of people don't understand the rules of golf. They know, like, what basic rules are. And there is the USGA actually puts out a very good Instagram channel where they talk about this and they go over different scenarios. You can send them different scenarios in there. And they talk about stuff like this where, like, nearest point of relief, which people don't understand how nearest point of relief works. It doesn't mean certain things, but, like, if you're in standing water in a bunker, you have to leave that ball in the bunker in a dry area of the bunker. But we've all played a course where the bunker is full of water and there's not, the nearest point of relief would put you closer to the hole. So you actually have to take it out of the bunker behind the hole. So now you've gotten relief because of standing water where you are outside of the bunker. That's using the rules to your advantage.
Correct.
There's scenarios where players have dropped the ball, but now it affects their stance. So now they get another drop, and now they've moved the ball like 5 feet from where it is, but they're following the rules of the game. So know the rules, and this is fair. That's where I think about it.
Yeah,
I like Shooter McGavin's response, though, that he had to play it off Frankenstein's foot. So he's not wrong.
I'm not mad at JJ for doing what he did, because I think if anybody was in that position utilizing the rules of golf, I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think it was a smart move. I think that you utilize. I've seen other players do it. I've seen Dustin Johnson do it.
Yeah,
I've seen Rory do it. I've seen Jordan do it. I mean, let's be honest. Tiger had fans move a boulder for him at one point in the tournament,
that's true.
and that was way against the rules.
No,
On
it was a
many
loose
levels.
impediment in a waste area. Well, not in a hazard, a
A
natural
loose
area.
impediment does not define that you need 5 people to move it.
That's fair.
So that's that's a whole different topic. All right. Let us know what you think in the comments. Steve, smack of the week?
Smack of the week. You know, early on the Tavern, we featured a few of these in a row, and it's been a while since we've seen a good one. So thought we'd bring this one. Thought we'd bring these back. I'm just saying, what's your thought if you are the guy driving, picking up the golf balls?
I was trying to figure out if it was Tiger Woods and his Sunday Red driving picking up the golf balls, because that's what that looked like.
Hilarious.
Play that back. That looks like
Okay, hold
Tiger
on.
Woods is driving the
Hold on.
and it's only because of the red shirt. It might be an orange shirt from the distance, but like watch the guy driving that. That's Tiger Woods. Like that's 100% Tiger Woods in there. How often, and if you work at one of these places like a Top Golf or a, what is it, 9-Iron, there's one, or 9-I Drive, and what's the other one? Drive Shack. If you work at one of these places and you're watching, comment on how often you've seen that happen of either drunk people or stupid people falling into those nets. Because I really want to know how, on
Here's
a
a
regular
question.
basis, how often does that happen?
Here's a question that I'm going to ask. Could we get Dave to do that?
No, Dave's smarter than that. But it's, I mean, one of our kids might do it. I'll be honest with you, if they're not paying attention.
I'd put it on my son, Luke.
So it's, one of our kids might do it just
Luke.
because they think it's funny also. So it's,
right.
We got that going for us.
Which is nice.
All right, let's get into last call. Thank you for getting the Caddyshack reference I threw out there.
You're welcome.
We said it'd be Caddyshack references all night.
So when I was in Vegas last week at a conference, they were interviewing this guy. They were interviewing somebody. It was a back and forth interview, and they said something about, we were talking about interest rates, and he said something, and the guy hosting said, "So we got that going for us."
Nice.
And then he said, "Which is nice." And I almost, like, I was sitting there laughing, and nobody else around me was, and I'm like, man, none of you people have seen Caddyshack.
Sad.
I'm like, that's a guy I want to hang out with right there, is what that is. So,
what does this sign say? No bare feet. Below that, no fighting.
We've dissected the players enough. We don't need to recap the players. Let's jump into Valspar, the last course on the Florida Swing. Another golf course on the Florida Swing that I have played. I've been to the Snake Pit. Drink. I'll be honest with you. Like, there are certain tee shots on that golf course, 11 being one of them, that you can get claustrophobia on real quick. It's narrow. It's not a typical Florida golf course where you can hit driver anywhere off the tee. You can bomb it down there. Like, you've got to position a golf ball and play some smart golf. I think it's 8. 8's like a 240-yard par 3. It's awesome. You get to the Snake Pit, and the Snake Pit is unbelievable. 16 might be the one. Honestly, 16 might be one of the hardest par 4s you'll ever play. I'd put it up there with 18 at Sawgrass as far as degree of difficulty. Um, 18 there is a great finishing hole. Plays uphill. Not as long as 18 at Sawgrass. You can hit driver down there and hit wedge in, but it's a good golf course. And when you get to that golf course, it's just a golf course you have to think your way around a little more than even Bay Hill. I mean, Bay Hill, you just can't hit it in the rough. Like Bay Hill, you hit in the fairway. I'd love to see a stat of number of guys that were not top 10 in fairways hit at Bay Hill that actually won, because I don't think that is actually allowed to happen out there. Valspar is probably the same way because there's so many trees. It almost feels like, and Greg, you'll understand this, almost feels like a course on the island in Hilton Head with all the trees.
Okay, I got you. Which you have a lot of that in those southern areas there. It's not,
yeah.
I will say, like when you're playing in wooded areas, like there's a difference between South Carolina and Florida, that there's an even bigger difference between North Carolina and Florida. When you're playing in
Correct.
trees in North Carolina, it's a lot of different types of trees, and it's kind of, I think, easier to get out of in a sense from that pine straw and stuff. But
these are more oak trees than you have the pine trees in the Carolinas. So oaks and palm trees. And we all know what happens if you hit a golf ball on a palm tree. At the top of a palm tree, it's a golf ball eater. So
I will say one of the coolest things that I think in sports, and we have one here, there's this at the Valspar, a snake pit is a great name for any kind of sports thing, where the snake pit here in Indy is at the Indy 500, and it's the party section of the Indy 500. That I love any kind of sport that has something called the snake pit in it.
Fair. I'm good with that. I like it.
So
let's jump into odds. You know, I think we need I think we need an alternate logo that's odds with either one of us.
I know I need to make that up and just I'm going to cross
presented by Nikon, the official rangefinder of the LPGA Tour and the Golfing Death Tavern.
So maybe we just make it the odds with Nikon.
Oh, that's not a bad one. It'll help you be clearer and give you the number. This week's favorite is surprising and funny. It's someone, Greg, that we were talking before the show, and you mentioned his name, and you said you really wanted his career, that he's won $25 million and doesn't have a win on the PGA Tour, and that's Tommy Fleetwood.
Yep.
He's going, he's 10 to 1. 10 to 1. Xander's 12 to 1. Sepp is 16 to 1. Justin Thomas is 20 to 1, along with Sam Burns, who won here twice. Tom Kim is 22 to 1. Michael Kim is 28 to 1. Michael Kim has been on a hot streak. So no surprise that he is up there. Corey Connors is 30 to 1, along with Adam Scott. Keith Mitchell's 35, along with Shane Lowry. Beyond that, Jordan Spieth is 65 to 1, which I find interesting that Jordan is in the field this week and is at 65 to 1. I'll give this name out there. He had a great finish last week at the Players. Joe Highsmith, winner at the Cognizant, is going off at 55 to 1. Lucas Glover, who played great last week at the Players, is 60 to 1. Alex Smalley, another player who played great last week, is 60 to 1. Luke Clanton is in the field this week. He is going off at 70 to 1.
Can we talk about the two greatest players last season are really on the struggle bus right now? And when I say struggle bus for Scotty, that still means he's in like the top 15 most of the time.
Right,
but it's still he's not winning as much as he was. But Xander is making the cut and then just falling off a cliff these past few weeks. So I hope that's
Xander, who's back, is coming off of an injury. I will give him that. I mean, he made the cut.
100%.
He made the cut on the number at Bay Hill.
I want him to be successful. It's tough to. I feel bad for him that this is happening.
Yeah. Who has the first pick this week? By the way?
You have first pick this week.
Ooh.
I believe.
Do you? I
think
Dave is third. So do you want to do rock,
Dave's third? I knew that. Because you had Justin Thomas last week, right?
Yeah.
You picked first because you were lower.
And I can't pick him again, right?
You cannot pick him again because it is the same month, the start of it.
You know what? I'm going to go as a tribute to our friends up north.
Going Canadian?
Corey Connors.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that pick. I think that's a good pick here. I will tell you that I was looking at who Dave put in his.
Yeah, I've got his here.
I am not going to pick Dave's first pick there, so Dave is safe with him. Although I'm the only one that's been successful with who Dave is going to end up with.
Correct.
So, and we've always been a fan of his. So, hopefully he has a good week here. I'm between two people really here, but I think I'm going to go with who we talked about. Who's the number one in the field? I'd like to see him get a win here. I'm going to take Fleetwood here. I want to see Fleetwood do well here.
I'm going to give you my take on that, and it's really quick.
This course doesn't play well for him?
Nope, that's not my take. Not the hot take I'm going to take. I'm going to go a hotter take. I have a hard time picking him until he actually wins.
I know, but
like
sometimes you got to be the one that breaks the streak for him, like I did for Steph. So,
I'm going to say this: the next Colin Montgomery, if he doesn't,
almost, yeah, I think so. But I mean, I don't blame him for making $25 million and not winning. I'd play golf and not win, and it would get frustrating because I'm very competitive, but. So I can only see where he's at, but I think he is due at some point with this. So I'm going to take him this week and hopefully the Valspar, because I feel the Valspar can kind of pull that out in people and get them their first win at this event. So with that, obviously,
and just to get Dave's pick out there, it's Sepp Straka.
That's what I was going to get. That's where I was exactly going. It's Sepp. He's taking Sepp this week. So, yeah, I think we got the last event in the Florida swing here. It was a good players championship. Like I said, it had a good finish. Not on Monday. I wish that was a little bit better. We talked about that in here, but tell us what you think in the comments.
Yes, let us know.
And
let us know about the ruling, and let us know what you think about PhoneGate.
And check out our other show, The Halfway House, and subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all your lovely social media platforms out there, and let us know what you want to see from us.
And Apple and Spotify. Don't forget we're on Apple and Spotify now. Yeah,
I will say I enjoy listening to us on Apple and Spotify, like in my car on the way to work, just to kind of like hear, not to listen to myself, but to kind of go over, hey, how did we sound? How was our content and things like that? So hopefully you're enjoying that as well. So with that, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
I'm really fortunate, man. I mean, I have an opportunity to build something that's
viral on our TikTok. That somebody was commenting about playing Whistling Straits for 700